Hey guys, today I'm going to take you somewhere unexpected. You're standing on the steps of the Parthenon, but the stars above you aren't fixed. They shimmer slide, almost as if they're being stirred by something behind the sky. You hear a low hum beneath your feet. Not from Athens traffic, this is deeper, older. The air is warm, but a current of something colder brushes past your ankles like a breath from below. A flicker of blue light peeks from a crack between the marble slabs. You kneel, touch the stone. It's warm. Careful, thaw be the end. You might never see history the same way again. So, before we descend into this strange story, take a moment to like the video and subscribe a bit. Only if ancient secrets and cosmic questions are your thing. Drop your current location and time in the comments. You want to know where on Earth or beyond you're watching from. Now, take a breath, clear your mind, and let's unlock the myths that may never have been myths at all. You slip through a gap in a fence tourists aren't supposed to cross. No guidebooks mention this part. A few steps take you into a hollowed section under the Acropolis, where archaeologists found foundation ruins too deep and too symmetrical to match the Parthenon's original footprint. Beneath broken Doric columns, a strange sloping shaft leads down, lit only by the flickering amber of your phone's flashlight. As you descend, you notice carvings on the walls, geometric spirals, some interlocking like three-dimensional blueprints. But here's the thing, they don't match Hellenic style. They're too precise. No chisel marks, and every 10 steps or so, a symbol pulses faintly, like it knows you're there. This shaft was discovered during restoration work in 1977 and promptly covered again. Officially, it led nowhere of importance, but according to a fringe historian named Theo Calavascio, was blacklisted for pattern. Hunting this corridor maps directly to the constellation Lyra at a 1:1000 scale. The layout isn't Greek, it's stellar. You step into the first chamber. The air smells like ozone and crushed stone. The walls angle inward, forming an elongated hexagon. Right in the center is a disc maybe 2 meters wide made of dark stone veined with silver. A single spiral sigil sits in the middle, so clean it looks burned into the rock. You reach out the cetabit, then place your hand flat against it. The disc vibrates. Suddenly, you're seeing images, not memories, blueprints. Floating columns, rotating rings of stone suspended mid-air. Something like a tuning fork made from light. And behind it all, a silhouette, tall, robed in mirrored fabric, face a blur of shifting fractals. One of the old engineers, maybe. One who never needed a hammer. Then it's gone. You stumble back, gasping. Historians still argue whether the Parthenon itself was a repurposed structure's own claim there was an older temple beneath, possibly dedicated to a now erased pre-Hellenic deity. But this isn't religion. It's infrastructure. Ancient cosmic infrastructure, hiding under the birthplace of democracy. You walk deeper into the chamber. Each corner holds something stranger. In the first, a slab carved with a helix and symbols that look a bit like linear but sharper, more alien. In the second, fragments of what appears to be glass, but it bends like the wrong way. A third corner house is a column that hums when you speak near it, echoing your voice back at a delay, like it's processing your words. And in the fourth, a skeleton, but not a human one. Long-limbed, double-kneed, a skull with no jaw and ridges that trail like antennae. It's fossilized, preserved, and covered in gold dust that reflects no light. Some ancient engineers didn't just leave behind their tools. They left themselves. You take a shaky breath. Remember that spiral sigil from earlier? It's here again, carved into the skull, like a calling card, or a brand. And now the really weird part. Above the skeleton is a mural. Stylized, sure, but clear, an Agathena, in full armor, handing something to a man. Not a spear, a sphere. And flanking her, not owls, not olive branches, but tall, thin beings with no face, only halos of lines radiating from their heads, like antennae made of light. Some call it symbolic. Others, like Calivas, think it's literal. The gods weren't gods. They were the architects. You sit on the cold floor and feel the deep hum again. It rises through your legs, into your chest. The disc starts glowing softly behind you. Something is waking up, and you've only just scratched the surface. You don't remember standing up. 1 minute you're staring at that mural Athena and her radiant entourage, in the next, your feet are moving, uninvited, toward a passage on the far wall. The stone shifts underfoot, not loose, not crack-responsive. It's like walking on a touchpad 3,000 years before the word existed. This corridor curves downward, smooth and seamless. There's no torch soot, no tool marks. Just a faint iridescent sheen along the walls, like the whole thing was poured, not carved. You pass more glyphs, and the strange thing? You're starting to recognize them. Not by language, exactly, but by feeling. One glyph, one shaped like a triple helix loop makes your skin tingle every time you pass it. Another one whispers a tone in your ear. A note so high and so clean it almost feels like being smiled at. The passage opens into a small alcove. At first, it looks empty. But when you shift your head slightly, the air distorts. And there, standing not in shadow but in phase, is a figure. It's at least 7 feet tall, gaunt but regal. Its skin are exosuitas etched with faint constellations. And a single glowing eye rests in the center of its forehead. It's not moving, not breathing, not here, but it's also not gone. You blink, gone. You blink again, still gone. Nope, wait, there's a footprint. Not a sandal, not a boot. 3-pronged, claw-like, burned into the stone. A trap, a memory, a marker, maybe all 3. You follow. Now here's where it gets crazier. Back in 2012, a restoration team working on the Erechtheion discovered schematics hidden inside a column fragment, drawn with iron oxide ink on a hybrid of papyrus and silk. They showed the Parthenon's entire layout but overlaid with a second structure, one made of interlocking circles, concentric nodes, and angled walkways that never physically existed, at least not in our dimension. The press release was hushed, the schematics lost in transit. Right, but you see the same pattern now, etched into the ceiling above you, layered rings with spokes leading outward, like some kind of cosmic circuit board. It's a Stargate schematic, and here comes the part historians really argue about. Maton of Athens, astronomer, mathematician, mild historical footnote, right? Except certain Pythagorean texts call him the one who measured the heavens from beneath. Beneath what? No one says. But they do mention the Watcher's diagram, a supposedly divine geometric chart that he used to calculate both lunar and solar calendars to uncanny precision. Some dismissed it as mystical nonsense. Others say he didn't calculate anything. He was shown. In a chamber you now enter, you find the answer. This room is circular. The walls slope up into a dome and floating G's. Floating at the center is a lattice of shimmering lines, hovering in midair like spun diamond. Every few seconds, a piece of it flickers, reconfigures, and realigns. It's a real-time star chart, but not of Earth's current sky. It's a sky from 12,000 years ago. A single platform rises beneath it. You step on. No vibrations, no flash, just knowledge. Images flood your mind. Athens as a glowing node in a planetary network, connected to Giza, Teotihuacan, Baalbek. But it's not just the sits, it's the geometry. Triangles, resonance lines, ley energy curves. Earth wasn't just colonized, it was tuned. And the tuner appears again. Only this time, they speak, not with words, with shapes. They show you how Maton stood here once, drawing diagrams not to understand the sky, but to remember it. He was a conduit, a design assistant for a project that spanned eons. And then the being touches your shoulder, not physically. A pressure behind your eyes. You see a version of Athens under construction, but with floating scaffolds, levitating stones, and engineers made of translucent silver pulling light from thin air. Maton watches them, learns from them. Not a servant, but not an equal. He writes, records, buries it all, including himself. Remember that skeleton in the first chamber? What if that wasn't an alien? What if it was him? Changed, upgraded, or refused? And what if the structure around you isn't a tomb or a temple? What if it's a transformer? That's when the platform hums. The star map shifts. A constellation begins to form Lyra again. The same alignment from the spiral corridor. You remember Kaliva's theory, every 13,000 years, Earth tilts just right. Opens a window. You just stepped onto the sill. You look up. One of the lines on the map pulses, a bright white thread. It's not connecting stars. It's pointing, drawing something closer. The air thickens. Dust floats upward. The temperature drops. Something is coming. You're not ready, but you've already called it. The hum turns into a tone low, resonant, not heard but felt. Like your ribcage just became part of a tuning fork. The line of light in the star map stretches farther, now extending through the ceiling. Beyond the stone, through layers of city, cloud, and space. It's a beacon and it's been activated. You step off the platform. The air behind you ripples, and something's amunful. A shimmer in the air, like heat off asphalt. The outline is human-shaped, but longer, thinner. You feel its presence more than see it. Not threatening, not friendly either. Just watching. Then, the floor beneath you shifts. A ring of stone silently rotates, revealing a new stairwell spiraling downward black stone. Polished like obsidian. You hesitate, but you go. Because of course you do. You came here for hidden truths, right? The temperature drops by 5 degrees with each rotation of the stairs. And then halfway down you hear it. A voice. No language. Just meaning. It blooms in your head like memory. You are out of time, but not place. Not comforting. You descend into a chamber unlike the others. This one is older. You can feel it. The architecture has changed, less Hellenic geometry, more non-linear. Walls curve, pulse faintly with shifting colors that don't have names. The floor is a liquid-solid hybrid that doesn't splash, but shifts with your weight like memory foam. Made of starlight. And in the center, floating 3 feet off the ground, is the Stargate. It's not a gate the way sci-fi told you. No portal with sparks and spinning rings. It's a mirror, a vertical pool of mercury-stained darkness, surrounded by a lattice of softly glowing rings etched with those alien glyphs you've come to recognize. Some symbols repeat. You're pretty sure one means return, another means origin, and there's one in the center, pulsating now, which might just mean now. Here's where it gets weird again. Historians have long argued about a strange story from the 3rd century BCE, a scroll recovered from a flooded temple storage room. The scroll describes a priest named Eleutherios who, during a solar eclipse, walked between moments and spoke with the architects of the sky. Most wrote it off as poetic nonsense, but the story also mentioned Lyra, a black mirror between the stars, and a warning: when the sky sings in triangles, the threshold reopens. You glance up. The map above you is now fully locked into an equilateral formation, 3 nodes pulsing at each point. Sky singing in triangles. It's open. The mirror ripples. And then, they arrive. Not step through, not appear. More like emergias if unfolding from a dimension just out of phase. 2 figures. Tall, their limbs too symmetrical. Cloaked in shifting metal that doesn't reflect the room. But somewhere else. Their faces are smooth, blank, with fractal eyes that bloom open like anemones made of starlight. They do not speak, but you hear them. You are late. Time stretches. Memories of places you've never been bloom behind your eyes. A pyramid made of sound in the Pacific. A temple carved into an asteroid. A machine the size of a moon orbiting nothing. Then, a flood of emotion, not yours. Theirs. A kind of patient anticipation. You've come to open what was never meant to stay closed. They move aside. The mirror stabilizes. You step closer. Behind the surface, you see flashes Athens, but not as it is now. Golden light, hovering spires, humans and others working side by side. Then stars. Then a massive ring in orbit, its surface lined with glyphs, spinning so slowly it appears still. Then darkness. A choice. You feel it. You can return. Pretend none of this ever happened. Go back up. Slip through the fence, delete your footage, blame it on heat stroke. Or, you reach out. The surface of the gate ripples against your fingers like oil over ice. It's cold, then burning, then nothing at all. And in that instant, you see everything. The Parthenon was never a temple. It was a lock. The myths were never lies. They were logs. The gods were never human. They were engineers, architects, watchers. And the Stargate? It only opens when someone chooses to see the truth and accept its weight. As you step forward, the beings watch you silently. No approval, no denial, just presence, witnesses to your choice. You pass through the surface, and behind you, the mirror seals, its symbols dimming back into dormancy. History will forget you, but the stars will not. The silence that follows isn't quiet. It's vast. Whether you step through or not, something fundamental has shifted. Beneath your skin, in the bones of Athens, in the orbital rhythm of stars above Mount Pentelicus, an ancient loop has been nudged, not completely just restarted. Imagine the Parthenon now, lit by tourist floodlights, cameras clicking, sandals shuffling over stone once placed by beings who measured planets. Like architects measure doorways, the surface world keeps spinning. Guides will still talk about Athena and marble and democracy. But now you know. Now, you've seen the echoes, the alignments, the unmistakable handprints of minds that did not evolve here. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start noticing the signs elsewhere, these strange hums in old structures, the persistent spiral motifs in sacred art, the eerie familiarity of certain constellations when you stared along into the night sky. This isn't the end of the story. It never was. These myths, the gods descending, the gates opening, the chosen ascending thief never stopped. They've just been waiting for someone to remember, for someone like you to put the pieces together and follow the hum beneath the stone. So next time you visit an ancient site, lean in, look closer, listen, and maybe tonight the stars aren't looking down. Maybe they're waiting for someone to look back.